everybody. It's Leah Richheimer. We are doing Q&A on chapter 3. Get your questions ready. We're going to barrel through these and get some real learning done. This is the Secret Wives Club. This is class number 20, and you should know you should actually go out and buy yourself some mint chocolate chip ice cream or some chocolates or some jelly beans or whatever toots your boot, because you floats your boat, toots your boot. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, you should be congratulated. Great job. You've made it through class 20. And this is hard work we're doing. You know, yes, it might come easy because Sarit's so funny and we're having a good time. Okay. But you should really know that where you're getting to and where you know, from where you are to where you've come, you really need to congratulate your goof, your body. Okay. So eat something delicious.
Okay. So we have so many questions it was such amazing chapters that we've dealt with. So I'm going to try to get as much as we can in. By the way, for anyone, info, is it questions at Ladies Talk Show? Question at Ladies Talk Show?
Yeah. Just do info at Ladies Talk Show because I have no idea. Just send them in there. Okay.
Info at Ladies Talk Show. Okay. Info at Ladies Talk Show is a great place to send questions to. So we love your questions. Okay. Keep sending them in. So Shula says, I feel like a lot of women, not me, of course, wink, wink,
okay,
are resistant to the idea of putting their husband's wants over their children's needs, especially since the husband can usually take care of himself and the children often can't.
Wow. Okay, fine. So if you guys have been watching all along, you realize that what does God himself want from us? He wants us to take care of our husband and shalom bayis. Okay. Yes, we are meant to raise our children and to groom them and to take care of them and to make sure they stay alive. Okay. That is our job. But in terms of priority, having your husband know that he is the most important thing to you is the most crucial thing you do as a wife. So, for instance, that doesn't mean you run out of the bathtub to go greet your husband at the door, leaving the kids alone. No, but it means you yell out of the bathroom and you say, oh, honey, I'm in the middle of giving the kids a bath. I'll be there shortly. It's you showing him by words and deeds. And if it only could be words at the time being okay, by words, you showing him that he's the number one priority in your life. And that's the critical factor here. What was your question, Sarit?
Meaning the question is that, and I think it's something that so many women feel, your husband's an adult. He could take care of himself. So if you have your child who needs you versus your husband who needs you, instinctively you want to help your child because.
Right.
And you almost also feel like your husband should feel the same way. He should feel that your child should be the one you're taking care of.
Right. This is a toughie. The problem is we know what the answer is. The answer is your husband comes first. So this is very tough. Are you joking? Like, my husband's wants versus my kids' need. So here's the thing that you have to understand. If this is something that God is telling us to do, right? Take care of your husband first, right? Ezer Kenegdo, you're not an Ezer Carpool. Right? You're taking care of your husband first. If that's our job, he must give us the strength and the wisdom to be able to do it. So if you are thinking, okay, your kid is there and your kid is, struggling with his math homework and you're dropping everything in the household to help your kid with their math homework and you're going through it and, or even it's a chumash, something really, really important to you and you want him to get it, right? And you think by pouring all of your time and energy into this little boy, that's going to be the best use of you. What Hashem is coming along to tell us is that the best use of you and the most important use of you is to take care of your husband. And if you take care of your husband, your son who's struggling will get better. Now, this isn't a 1-to-1 ratio, and it's not like this guarantee that if you do that, then your kid will be better. But we do know the guarantee is if we take care of our husband, there will be blessing that comes into the home, unlimited amounts of blessing. And will that might mean that the carpet that's ripped, that everyone's tripping on, that you take some simple duct tape. I mean, you've done this 10 times and the duct tape never worked, but now you use the duct tape, easier for me to say, use the duct tape and it works. And now people aren't tripping on the carpet. That's called bracha. It's called your parnasa. It's called your health. It's called everything, it's called the soup turning out good. It's called something not burning. It's called all these things that are bracha. It might pour to your kid, probably will pour to your kid that you're spending all your time with his chumash. You're trying to help him. But instead you said, oh, can you read that on your own? I need to get, daddy can't find his clippers and he needs to, clip his nails, and you're gone off there. And you're so, instead of being so angry at your husband for doing that, you're like, this is what God wanted me to be doing right now. And then you come back and the worksheet that your son was, trying to get through is done. He did it by himself. Look, that's an open miracle. You may not see the miracles, but you can take it to the bank that God is going to bring blessing into your home by putting your husband first. End of story. Guaranteed. Try this at home and you'll see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's funny.
You may not see exactly.
Yeah. It's funny, Leah, because even when you used to teach this in the classes that we used to have, and it was the women were just like, wow, my husband's a grown man and he could take care of himself. And why did he forget the keys in the car? He's an adult, and people had such a hard time with it. But it was so profound that when people actually tried it, they were like blown away that even their children noticed that they prioritized their husband, and the lesson that the end result was so profound on
You're
all
so
levels.
Yummy, Sarit, because you remember all the results.
I also remember, which was so amazing, that you actually said to someone that because they were having such a hard time with it, they said that there's also an avenue to turn to the husband. And if it's something that really desperately the child needs, at that moment, is it's also okay to turn to the husband and say, you always say, my lovely husband, the love of my life, I want to prioritize you. I want to do whatever you need right now. But right now our child needs this. What do you think I should do? Do you have advice for me? Because I'm putting you first. But if you can help me, and you gave that as like that there is so a little bit something. No, but there is.
It is. It is.
And it really made such a difference. It wasn't like sometimes there's a child is hysterical or there's something, and this way a mother can, and, you said the husband is, once he's given the priority all the time, he's by nature going to,
Again, let it go.
Exactly.
100%. I'm so glad you remember what I said.
Yes.
Well, that is awesome. But also the other thing about that exact example that you gave is that, first of all, the trying it at home, it's just, I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but once you try this once and see, you'll be like, oh my goodness, it might take a few times till you get the exact, you see one for one, your actions making a difference. But the other issue, a part of what you said, is bringing your husband in on team and saying, your husband says, he calls you up and says, oh, can you, my clothes are at the cleaners. Can you go get them right away? I need it for the wedding tonight. And it's perfectly appropriate to say, if that's what you want me to do, I'll go do that. But just so you know, the pot's boiling over on the stove. All three kids, the triplets are, on the floor. I can't get any of them to let me change their diaper. If you want me to drop this, whatever, I do have the housekeeper here who can sort of keep things if you want me to do that. If not, is there an old shirt you can wear? So it is presenting it to your husband in a way, but he's getting, what's the message he's getting, ladies? He's getting the message that he's in charge. He's the boss. He's the king. And when a husband feels like the king, he'll make you the queen. And so he'll if you try to wrest control from him, he'll fight for control. If you give him the control, he'll ask for your input. It's just the way it is. Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay, so Lena actually adds on to this, which is so nice. She says, the other day, my daughter wanted to do her homework with me. My husband wanted to show me a funny video simultaneously. And I told my daughter she had to wait because Abba wanted to show me something. And she accepted so naturally. It was way more natural for her than for me.
Wow. And think of the lesson she's giving that kid, both for her daughter's understanding of who her father is, so that when she's a teenager, she listens to her father because the wife has raised him up to such a level that that strength that a man has. When the wife grants that man, her husband, that strength and that power and that dignity and that respect, then when the kid, especially girls, but boys also are teenagers, and they need that strength. It's there. You see so many times the women's knocking the husband. Oh God, why do you say that, Abba? And that's not true. And and then the kid turns into a teenager, and the strength is gone. The biggest weapon to keep their kids in line and to have that boundary and that wall that teenagers need so desperately, it's long gone. So you got to work on this for that reason as well. I was going to say something else. Hold on a second. Sarit, help me here. You were just, what was it you just made? Hold on.
About the daughter so naturally accepting that.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. So but the wife, by giving her husband that respect and that strength, is strengthening the teenager. But also think of the lesson she's getting about what married life is. Think of what there's almost like nothing more important for her to understand than the role of a husband and a wife and how they respect each other. And the respect starts with the wife. I'm sorry to tell you this, okay? The husband, he'll be out to lunch 4 different times before he'll ever come and start respecting his wife, okay? Even though he's commanded to do that and he must do that and he should do that. But it's when the wife pours respect on him that a husband will respect the wife. And that's the secret. Just start. Is it fair? No. Is it right? No. Yeah. You can fight all you want. I'm just telling you, if you do it, you will see results. They're guaranteed. Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay, so Nechama says, I feel exhausted by putting my husband at the top of my priority list all the time. Is there something wrong with me?
Whatever you resist persists. So it's kind of like it seems like she's doing it because she should, rather than that she is wanting to do it for her husband or wanting to do it for benefits that would accrue to herself. She's not witnessing what it's doing in her life. She's not seeing the closeness with her husband. She's not, and it's not necessarily that it's not there. It's that somehow her eyes are blocked from being able to see what her what benefits are accruing from this. So I think it's just a question of maybe getting a journal or an app or something and start writing down, I see that my husband used to, when I used to serve the food at the table, he used to just start eating. And now I see, after I'm showing him so much more respect and putting him the priority, I see that all of a sudden he started eating only when I've sat down. That makes me feel good, like he's waiting for me or he doesn't feel right just enjoying himself when I'm still running around after everybody else. Noticing those things that your husband is doing and growing is what's going to give you the koyach, the strength to be able to continue doing the things that you should be doing, but you have to be able to see the benefits to yourself. Otherwise, we're human beings and we need the juice. We need to be able to see, there's more closeness here. If you aren't seeing more closeness or you're seeing nothing, it could be your eyes are broken, or it could be that your husband's particularly got a thick skin or a thick head or something, but just keep working at it, keep going at it. It's the right thing to do. It's going to bring blessing into your home, even if you can't witness it. You may see your little boy doing better on his homework or his math homework or whatever. You might see that, or you might see nothing. You might feel like you're just putting all this energy in and you're not seeing anything. And maybe that'll be for quite some time. Maybe God isn't letting you see the rewards of your efforts at this time, but you will, and you guarantee they are there. This is a promise from Shemayim. Excellent question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Menucha says, why is the secret to a good marriage the woman giving of herself fully to her husband? Even if it makes her husband happy and makes him appreciate her, won't she just run herself dry? How can you give and not exhaust yourself?
So that's like saying, how can you live and not be exhausted or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, I'm not quite sure I follow what it's like saying if she's giving and she is just exhausted from it, she's, just, it's kind of like the question I just answered, which is that she's not seeing the fruits of her labor, and it's doubtful the fruits aren't there. It's that she has, maybe she grew up in a household where everybody sort of was negative and saw only the the glass half full, and was always pointing, oh yeah, this happened and that happened, and like, well, what good happened today? Maybe she needs to start an exercise every day at every dinner. She needs to go around the room of the kids, or she needs to, at least for herself, write a journal or an app or whatever and say, what positive aspects can I witness in my life? It sounds like she's not seeing anything good, which doesn't means that.
And it's actually, Leah, so funny because it's almost a contradiction the way she wrote it, because she wrote, even in her question, she wrote, even if it makes her husband happy and makes him appreciate her. I mean, if he's appreciating her, then she should be seeing the benefits.
Yeah. So
it's almost like she's like, like putting blinders on and not open to seeing.
Right. Also, there is, a whole thing of people being much more in touch with their own reality than in the reality in their home or other people. So it's almost like when she checks into herself, she, everything looks, it doesn't look as bright and cheery as it could, because she's not seeing, is my child happier than they were before? Is my husband happier than he was before? Are things going nicer in our home? It's almost like if you only are seeing, if you're surrounded by a wall of mirrors and you're only seeing yourself, you can't witness what the miracles that you're creating by your beautiful behavior. So here's my message to you, Menucha. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Keep working at it. Keep trudging away. And please God will show you some results that you can actually see. Recognize that you are wearing blinders, maybe mirrors, just looking at yourself, whatever, and look closer. Look at your daughter and see if she's growing. Look at your husband and see if he seems a little bit happier. Look at your friends. Look outside yourself for the results. Don't necessarily look internally, because we're all locked in our own head and our own thinking. That's your homework. And report back. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, let's go to the next.
Okay. Aliza says, how do I feel that my husband and I are partners if I feel like I carry most of the weight in our marriage? I work part-time, take care of the kids, maintain our home, I pay our bills. I feel like if there was more equality in our marriage, I'd feel like we're more like partners, carrying the burden equally, and I wouldn't harbor as much resentment towards him.
Excellent question. And I'm going to give you an answer and you're not going to be happy. Okay. Here's the deal. There is zero blessing in your home that comes from you. If your husband is sitting there on the couch with a clicker 24/7, does nothing to raise his finger, you're working 3 jobs, you're managing the kids, you're buying the food, you're cooking the food, you're putting away the food, you're cleaning the house. Okay. Still, 100% of the blessing from God himself in your home is from your husband. That means your paycheck is from your husband. All the food in the fridge that you paid for and bought is from your husband. All of the strength that you had and the health that you had to clean the house and to take care of the kids and to take care of the home, that health, the blessing for that health is from your husband. But once you understand the reality of the spiritual world, that's how it works. And this is no joke. Okay. We're talking, 220 Torah sources. I think there's like 18 of them that discuss this. Okay. All of the blessing in the home comes from the husband. So what does that mean for you? It means your attitude of your effort and your working and your whatever, that's the hishtadlus, that's the effort that you're putting in. But the blessing for the money that you are working for and the blessing for the food that you're feeding the kids with it all comes from your husband. Now, how does that mean on a daily basis? Does that mean he can just do nothing and that would make you feel good? No. Okay. When you have a game changer in your mind to understand all blessings come from him, guess what that means? Ladies, this is for everybody. It means that you have the power to increase the blessing in your home. What does that look like? It looks like saying thank you more to your husband. So when he brings the bracha, the more you appreciate and say thank you and show appreciation, show gratitude for the bracha that he brings in. Not only does that mean that more bracha is coming into your home, and this is not Leah Richheimer's idea. This is Chazal are teaching us. This is our Masorah. The husband's the giver, the wife is the receiver. And that blessing, to bring more blessing in, is just becoming a bigger vessel for receiving his blessing. And the more you do that, the less you'll be paying attention to how much effort you put in and how much work you do. It's inconsequential in the spiritual realm of bringing blessing into your home. And the more you focus on that, and it's not fair, and I do, and we do, the more you focus on that, the more petty and small your mind becomes, the less of a vessel you can become to receive your husband's blessing. So if you can, this is your homework. If you can switch how you're holding and realize that this job, you're doing 10 jobs and your husband maybe should be doing more and be more of a partner. Okay. Guess what? He's not a partner at all. He's 100% it. He's the one bringing the blessing into the home. You're 0 and he's 100. So if you want to talk about a partnership, it's equal. That's right. You're 0, he's 100 in terms of bringing bracha. Now, in terms of effort and work and hishtadlus and trying to do everything in the household or whatever, if you understand and recognize who he is in your life, that he's the source of all bracha in your life, if you can do that, there will be a softening in his heart to help you more. This is something you can pray for. You can say, Hashem, I just need, can you just have my husband just recognize more how much I do, appreciate me more. We're going to get to a whole section on getting the appreciation women desperately need. Okay. We will get there. Okay. We will get to the point where we're going to talk about what your needs are and how to get them met. Guaranteed, we're going to get there, God willing. Okay. But for now, the main take-home message is if you can shift your thinking to you're doing everything and he's doing nothing, it's the opposite. He's doing everything, you're doing nothing. Okay, all blessing comes from the husband. If you shift your mind in that way, it'll ease the upset and the anger that you have right now, and it'll be a perfect segue to going into the whole section we're about to do in the next chapter about getting the appreciation you need and getting your needs met. Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay. Naomi says, why do I feel resentful of my husband if I feel appreciated by him?
You mean she already feels appreciated?
She feels appreciated, but she still feels resentful. Like she's still not.
Okay, can you ask her, can you type in, whoever wrote that question in, can you extrapolate what exactly you mean? What, you're resentful, something he did for you 10 years ago that you're upset about. He appreciates what you do. I don't understand the question. Go to the next.
Okay, so the next one is, and she's going to get back to us, Naomi. Okay. Tamar says, how can we prioritize 20 different things a day? I feel like my day is never ending, and just putting my husband at the top of it it's a
too hard basket. I get it. Okay, so fine. So here's the big homework for you. Make a list of everything you have to do for a day. Maybe you should do this every day. Prioritize it and circle the top 3 or 4 things, and everything else is bonus. So all you have to do to hit the pillow that night, the goal is when you hit the pillow at night, you've done those 3 things, or you've done those 4 things, or the best you could to, maybe they didn't get accomplished, but you tried your hardest to get those done. That's the way to ratchet down your stress level. Another tip on how to ratchet your stress level with 20 things you've got to do. Do less. We drive ourselves crazier than we would drive another person. Like, in other words, we would never, like, to ourselves, we have a list a mile long. Oh, do this, do that. We would never say to a kid, clean your room. After you've done that, do the backyard steps, and also mow the lawn and clean the leaves. And, we would never pile 30 things on a kid or our husband or anybody, any other human being. Even our housekeeper would say, chop this. If you get finished with that, then maybe, open, trim the chicken bones or chickens or whatever, chicken legs. Hello, I can talk. So everybody has to understand that we parse out and divvy and delegate in a very careful manner. If we have our secretary, we don't say, do this and then and here's a list of 50 things. No, we say to our secretary, oh, can you get the report typed? And when you're done with that, please do this. We're so kind to everybody else. When it comes to ourselves, we have this list a mile long, and we don't let ourselves breathe for a second. And you know why this is? Because in our greater world, in the secular world, accomplishment is seen as our esteem. So our self-esteem is built on how much we can accomplish in a day. It's very good in certain sense. That level of stress and that level of motivation gets a lot done in the world. At what cost and what expense between our relationship with our husband, our relationship with our kids. So the second tip is to decrease what we demand of ourselves to do. And the third tip is to try and find areas and pockets in our life of pleasure and expand them. So whether that's, listening to music, or whether it's going to the park, or whether it's reading a book, or whether it's, just sitting with a cup of tea and staring out the window, try and increase those pockets if we can. So those are just a couple of tips. We'll get into a lot more of this as the book goes on. Okay, let's get back to it was Naomi. Did she ever answer? You're on mute.
No, so Naomi says, the main feelings of resentment are about my husband's freedom and flexibility to do what he wants to do when I'm tied down to the home and the babies. I know my husband appreciates me because he's very vocal about it, but it doesn't always make me feel better about our current situation. I'm grateful that he appreciates me. It definitely helps, but I definitely feel resentment bottled up here.
Right. So there's two issues. One is, are the logistics of your life, have you had conversations about them? So that's the first. You need to have a conversation and say, listen, I feel that, I have an overwhelming, I know you appreciate this, but I feel like, I have too much of the burden of running the house or whatever. Is there a way, can you think of a way where you can help alleviate that a little bit? And let him talk, put the problem. We always like to do this, put the problem in the man's hands so that he can think it. He can say, I really think that, you should have, maybe on Tuesday nights, I'll come home early and I'll give the kids a bath. Or maybe, I think you demand too much of yourself. I think, you get the kids dressed every day. They're only toddlers. They can stay in their pajamas all day. I don't know what he's going to say, but let him give you the answers and the responses that are going to help you to have a better life. Put the problem in his lap. That's first of all, that'll help reduce the resentment. And the second issue is, are the things that you resent about your husband based on your expectations of what you thought marriage should be like, what you thought he should be like, what you feel, what your friends have, is it really based on expectations that are unrealistic or inappropriate? Or is it really that he is making giving you the lion's share of things? If you're not working full time, I say this a lot, women who are full-time moms should bear a greater responsibility for the household. If you're both full-time workers, it's a little bit different. And again, they did a lot of studies, and households that ran perfectly equality had a much higher divorce rate. So I'm not saying, that it's fair that a woman is doing much more of the household management and child raising. That just happens to be how it is. And I don't know that you should make that your battle cry, because it's just going to cause friction in your marriage. But that doesn't mean that you can't have really, really heart-to-heart conversations saying, I'm feeling overburdened. How can you help me? And it could be that he's helping you physically, or it could be he's helping you by being your Rebbe and your guide and saying, you are doing too much, and every day, you're trying to take the kids to the park every day. You know what? They can go to the park 3 times a week. He might help you. You might be even annoyed at him, but take his advice. He's the one who knows you best, and putting yourself in that situation where you are sharing the problem with him will hopefully decrease the resentment. Okay, that was fantastic questions and very well explained after we didn't understand it. Okay, this is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. This is the Secret Wives Club. You are making progress every single time you listen to a show and every time you do the homework and go home. And your homework for this week is to try and see what brachas are coming down from your husband that you didn't notice before. It's a toughie because it's like, I don't want him to be the source of all my bracha, but he is. We know that from our sources. So look very, very deeply and closely this week at times when you've missed a blessing that he brought into your home. Basically anything good that happens is brought in by bracha from Shemayim through your husband. So look for those and make a note of it, and maybe start making a journal of jotting down all of them. Will help you to relieve that resentment and that anger you have towards him for not being who you expect him to be, and start seeing him for who he really is, which is the source of all blessing in your home. Okay, it's Leah Richheimer. See you next time.